and find out how to get your business on air.
Love-hate relationship with Flat Pack Furniture? Got a room desperate for a lick of paint? Platinum Home Improvements can help. We'll build your flat packs and decorate your rooms quickly and to the highest standard at a reasonable price. Call 569 359.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint. Furnished by Magic Carpets.
6 minutes past 12. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Mannin Line today with the Minister for the Department of Enterprise, Laurence Skelly, MHK, is with us till 1. So we have 82 days and no confirmed positive tests for coronavirus. There have been 8,826 tests, 8,823 concluded, 3 awaiting results, and 3 people are awaiting a test. But you heard the news from New Zealand today. And Faster My, good afternoon, Mr. Skelly.
Faster My, Andy.
Well, that news from New Zealand, are you surprised? Has that taken anybody by surprise?
I suspect a lot of people will be surprised, but having said that, I think their politicians, as well as us, have always been saying that it will come back. And the question we've always been saying is not when, it's if. And for our case, it was always about how do we live with this going forward. It's a wonderful bubble to live in, of course, but we cannot be complacent.
And we're in the bubble with Guernsey at the moment. I mean, who would have thought this time last year that suddenly 2 islands will be connected like this? And how do you think that's going?
Well, feedback has been positive, and it's just anecdotal there, to be honest. But, it's wonderful to see the activity, I guess, not just the visitors. Of course, we had the sports connection there. The Chief Minister of Guernsey is actually here himself. So we've had a strong relationship, goes back many years from a business perspective and how we're constituted. So we have worked closely with them. So it's just nice that we can now share this tourism affiliation.
And as I say, it's weird, it's unreal, it's surreal in many ways as well. You're looking at it from the enterprise end, obviously generating income throughout the many bits of the enterprise department as well. So you know the interior of this department, you know what needs to be done. How far are we along the line?
Well, our focus has been, and just announced just last month, is the economic recovery plan. Clearly, we've dealt with, we tried to deal with the protection of life, which was really important, undoubtedly. But as we've come out of that, we've got to be able to pay for it, and we need a health service which we all value, and I think we've learned to value it even more so, as well as all those other key workers. So our role and responsibility is keeping the economy moving forward, trying to keep people in employment, and ultimately they generate the taxes that pays for the health service and all the frontline workers that we have and services that government provides. So we're now really getting our teeth stuck into this economic recovery plan, and we're looking at a whole host of different areas that we can try and stimulate interest in terms of spend in our local economy, and also support those businesses that continued right the way through. We have a lot of businesses that are particularly service-related industries, the finance and digital, who have continued to do very well, and some of them are doing exceptionally well right now.
We won't know until MIRA's finished and until the government support for people and some for business as well has finished. We won't know whether this has bottomed out. We won't know how many apples are going to fall from the tree, will we?
No, very good point, really, because unemployment is, by our standards, very high, although it is relatively contained. And there's a massive focus with regards to the economic recovery plan around skills, because we know people are going to need to retrain and upskill and consider changing careers and so forth. So we're gearing up to that, and that's a strong pillar of the economic recovery plan. But when you mentioned the salary support and MIRA, as those are sort of weaned off, that could put more people into a welfare situation. And clearly our role and responsibility is to try and get people into employment again. And if they have to be retrained, that's a big focus of what we're trying to achieve.
And of course, new cohorts now coming, school leavers and graduates coming into the marketplace.
Yes, and and we've just launched the other week the internship program, which is kind of a follow-on from the normal STEP program, which many people will remember, highly successful. And really, what that is an opportunity for our young people, and we targeted the young people, but it doesn't necessarily need to be young people, to take on a real-life business project. And in particular, we've had a really good callback there. I think over 130 students and young people have already applied, but we do need more projects. So I appeal to businesses, both private sector, public sector, and also the third sector. If you have a project you'd like a student to actually take on, or a young person to take on, that will help your business, we as government will help support that. So please get in touch.
You mentioned it's not just young people. There will be some people of advanced age who will find themselves falling off the merry-go-round. Will find it difficult to get employment. What's going to happen to them?
Yeah, and that is a bigger challenge. There's no doubt about it. I think the younger people are very much a mind to make changes much easier, much quicker, and much quicker. As the older you get, the harder it is to make those changes. So, which is why, and I come back to the skills issue. We've got a big program we're rolling out with regards to UCM, but we're also looking and appealing actually to those who do quite a lot of training here. A lot of businesses actually do their own training, online training and so forth, for changing career. So if you've ever thought about it, and obviously this might be a push rather than an optional move, this would be the time to have a look at that, because there are a lot of options out there, and it really doesn't necessarily matter to the age, because we have a lot of vocational opportunities too. So as young people are thinking about university and what that might bring to them, academic qualification is always a benefit to you at some stage in life. However, we have numerous vocational opportunities, 17 different vocational opportunities through apprenticeships and other different schemes.
So let's just say there's a 55, 60-year-old woman who's listening now and thinking, I may not have a job to go back to in September, or a man of that age as well. There's genuinely a retraining option for someone of that age.
There is, and it's well worth going through. We've got some great recruitment agencies on the job centre, of course. Look for a bit of advice, but do some research as well, because as I say, there are a lot of services here on Ireland where you can actually retrain. Look at the UCM programs that we do have. So there is, and there's going to be more of them. We're trying to generate up to 1,600 new opportunities for reskilling and new opportunities in this area.
UCM, of course, is perfectly placed in this, isn't it?
They do. They do such a wide variety of options. And the other one, of course, is if you've never thought about it, is maybe you want to do business for yourself. Just before COVID, we had record number of people who really want to be their own boss. They want to be their own entrepreneur, control their own destiny. And of course, COVID's come along and made that really very difficult. However, more people want to govern that destiny. And if they have a thought or an opportunity to consider going into business for themselves, we have the micro business support scheme as well, which would be well worth investigating.
A note in regarding is the job centre open, by the way?
I believe so. There is a number. It falls under Treasury these days. So, but there is. I think there is access online for that.
Okay. Terry said, regard an important security question for the Minister. Could you confirm what precautions are being taken regarding data protection in government? Because many office-based civil servants are working from home. Anyone can get hold of personal information. I'd rather they were based in a secure office where that can be watched and data is secure. Can this situation, is it trusted?
Yeah, it's a good question, really, and it's not just within the public service. The private sector too have to adhere to data protection rules and regulations. So, from our point of view as government, I do know that they were all secure when we went to very quickly we went to remote working. So it was really quite a big operation. I know our department within days, I think there's nearly 200 of us. Apart from one or two people, all went to remote working, and quite frankly, you've got a secure server, which is all done via the cloud these days, and that does ensure that everything is protected. So yes, I from that assurance is given from our government technology services.
How many people are back to work in your department?
Well, we're almost pretty much full in terms of our department, and I think our department is a little different in as much that we are quite outward facing, particularly with the business community, and there's a host of different activities there that it is more beneficial to do it in the physical sense, but it doesn't mean to say everyone is, because we do have a number of people who are still shielding, can work from home, can function quite efficiently and effectively.
Peter says, could you ask Mr. Skelly when government staff, this is following on from that, when government staff will get back to their offices to provide the service? At present, there are a number of departments. When you ring, you either get an answer phone or no answer. The RTLC in St John's, you can't speak to anybody there. It's all very strange. A few weeks ago, when they had the schools operating at full strength, but not many government departments. I think some people are a little kind of confused, maybe, as to well, is it going to be the government policy to get every government worker back into the office they used to be in?
No, it isn't completely, and it kind of follows on to the whole mobile working option, because whilst in our case, in our department, the interaction is quite important. Doesn't mean to say all facets of government need to have a physical presence in an office. They can work remotely, which clearly supports the whole climate change initiative as well. So if the people can work remotely, they should be encouraged to do so, and as government, we'll try and do so. But I will say, just to answer Peter's question now, I'm not too sure about the RTLC, but I do know different parts of government were coming back at different paces, so to speak, in terms of their physical presence in offices and so forth.
Douglas Promenade, the Enterprise Department, I think you're the business liaison people, aren't you, for the businesses on Douglas Promenade?
Yes.
Everybody accepts that you can't make an omelette without breaking an egg, and the promenade had to be done. Do you think it's going to be open at Easter next year?
Well, that's the very clear commitment by Minister Baker, and we are doing everything we can to support him and the department in achieving that. Very clearly, the businesses on there have suffered greatly, and it's well worth sort of going back to that to put it into context. They've had the disruption of the promenade, they had the Flybe issue just prior to COVID. Now they've had COVID, and we're in this sort of extended period that they call the 3 winters from the tourism perspective.
Without naming names, you must be aware of some people that are in dire straits.
They are, and we have introduced some schemes of support to date. And the one thing I would encourage the Manx population here is, please, we talk about this before about buy local and spend local. Please visit the promenade businesses, because they are still open, and it is a great opportunity. You can still, obviously the works are in front of you. You've got the beautiful sea behind you, and you've got the Tower Refuge and a great panoramic. So please go and visit these businesses. They do need your business just as much as the rest of the businesses around the island.
I think when we first spoke, I remember you talking about tourism infrastructure, about the fact that it was almost like a bombing raid, and stuff had to be kept open so that it was going to be there for when all this is over.
Yeah, that's called and that was one of the schemes that we had, the strategic capacity scheme, because tourism was enjoying quite a little bit of a renaissance. We've seen a sort of steady, sustainable growth, and our visit agency had just published their strategy to grow this sector even further, and we had a number of plans in terms of marketing and some target programs. So that's what made it so so heartbreaking when COVID came along to have that massive impact. So we're still very much confident that we've got a really good product and offer, and I think the Manx population are rediscovering the island in many ways. And a day like today, it couldn't, well, we always say it's no finer place, and so this great opportunity, now to build upon that as we come out of it will be something that we're already looking at, and we'll be looking to target some of our marketing.
Okay, Pat, and this is for Mr. Skelly. Is your department discriminating against local campers? You've reduced Sulby campsite to 25 pitches for locals, but come race week allowing 75 pitches. I've seen the Isle of Man camping bylaws been given as an answer, and it's health and safety or 6 metre spacing. But for TT at Sulby and the grandstand paddocks, it's reduced to 1.6 for TT fans.
Pat, thank you very much for highlighting that. I'm not aware of any of those breakdowns between local and I guess visitors. So that's quite a surprise. Sulby Claddock, I think, is managed by our colleagues in DEFA. So I'd have to defer to them to verify that. With regards to the grandstand behind there, that's of course usually the race teams that are camping in there, so that would be on that basis. But what I would say, campsites right now, it's really difficult to get on local campsites. I have one near me.
Certainly is in Port Erin.
Well, yes, you're right. It's very close to where I live, and and it's wonderful, because you're seeing people enjoying themselves and the great outdoors that the Isle of Man is. So in between all these heavy showers, etc.
Okay, text 166177, email studio@manxradio.com, or call 66 13 68. We have Roger, I think, on the line for Laurence Skelly, MHK. Good afternoon, Roger.
Good afternoon, Andy. Good afternoon, Minister. Before my question, I'd just like to say thank you, Minister. Thank you for everything you're doing, for what you stand for. You're obviously passionate about your department, and that comes across each time you're on the radio. So, but before for my question, and I have rang up 2 or 3 times prior to this, it's in relation to the Jersey quartet of key workers that were over, and Chief Minister, as you'll be aware, announced there was to be a police investigation into an alleged possible breach of their contract. And then that, from what I understand and what I believe, is that the investigation was put on stop. Now, bearing in mind our other cousins from Guernsey received suspended sentences and hefty fines, and our own residents were straight to Derby pending the plea on remand. And I just wondered whether it's possible, whether you have any knowledge or whether you can throw any light on why it was stopped. And bearing in mind the recent news from New Zealand, I think it's appropriate to the public that we are kept informed.
Thank you, Roger. I'm sorry to say I can't shed any further light on that. I do know that was an investigation that was begun, and quite rightly so under the circumstances. But I do not know what the outcome of that is. You mentioned that you thought it was on stop. On that basis, I would suggest we might want to check with the police chief himself and ask him what the status is there. But I do know that here on the island, with regards to people who are self-isolating and so forth, that the hotline number does get regular calls of people checking up on people here on the island, which is part of our very close community, you might say.
Okay, Roger, we'll chase that up for you. The one thing I think was mentioned last week was that the police couldn't go to Jersey because of restrictions on travel. So I think it's a case of the Isle of Man Constabulary going to Jersey to interview the people. But I stand to be corrected on that.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Thanks for calling us today. Let's talk about esports, Mr. Skelly. The appointing of a head of esports at the digital agency is Chris Kissack, I think, isn't it?
It is, yes, that's right.
What's a head of esports?
Well, it's a new initiative that we've felt that has opportunity for the island. It's an industry that's grown rapidly, particularly with the younger generation, the gamers rather than the gamblers. I'll just highlight that point first and foremost. And what we've recognised is there's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's not regulated. Clearly, here on the Isle of Man, we regulate industries, whether it be the gaming industry, the finance industry, to a very, very high standard. And we believe we can build an ecosystem here for esports. And it's well worth recognising our sporting pedigree here on the Isle of Man, sort of in our DNA, from the TT to cycling to numerous sports here on the island. So we think that through the digital initiatives that we have grown, that there is significant opportunity. So that's why we've employed somebody to really drive that initiative.
Why does esports need regulation?
Well, I think on the back of that, it's about trying to control if there is the actual sporting activity is not gambling, but people can gamble on activity, and
there are in-game purchases.
That's right. Well, you seem very well informed, Andy. Yes, through tokens and so forth there. And what I might recommend there, Andy, is that we might invite Chris to come and do a presentation or a piece with you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because you can, like a lot of initiatives, a lot of things are sort of misunderstood until they understand how the whole ecosystem can work. So it's just an initiative at this particular stage. We think it's got mileage, we think it's got opportunity, and we also look at where we were, say, 20 years ago, take with the gaming industry. We think that this could be very similar.
Well, one thing that struck me, and again, it's very much a generational thing, and certainly people who are into computer games are passionate about them. But I didn't know until I did the research that if you take the entire world cinema industry and you add to that the world music industry, recorded and live concerts, and you add to that the newspaper industry, esports is computer games are bigger than all of them put together.
Well done, Andy. You're absolutely right.
It is enormous, isn't it?
And you see here are these teenagers who become millionaires almost overnight. With millions of people watching these events, and it's definitely something that we think there is a growth. And again, looking at the age demographic there, that this is generally a young person's activity and support. But I go back to gaming and what we did there. We regulate to a very, very high standard. And I just had a report there where we are with regards to gaming, for example. And this is one of our big digital industries here on the Isle of Man. And the number of live licenses and number of in process are busier than we've ever been. So our pipeline is really very strong. And the reason for that typically is because we are attracting the quality businesses.
So you think the Isle of Man can be a world leader in esports?
It's potential. It's got fantastic potential, and similar to you would have heard a lot about blockchain and so forth prior to this, and we set up a blockchain initiative, and we do have businesses operating in that particular space already. So this is all about innovation, and digital innovation is really critical. And part of what we've done as a government is we've invested in infrastructure. So resilience is really vital, really important, because if any of these businesses go down for any length of time, that it costs a serious amount of money. So having that resilience, and we're bringing in a new cable, for example, the investments we've just done with regards to the broadband across the island. So these are all important aspects that attract digital businesses to the island.
Laurence, Skelly, MHK, live on the Mannin line today through till 1 o'clock. If you want to get in touch, text 166 177, email studio@manxradio.com, or call 66 13 68.
Manx Radio.
Reynolds & Reynolds, the newest name for quality pre-loved cars and vehicles on the Isle of Man. Reynolds & Reynolds have a stunning showroom conveniently located on the Isle of Man Business Park. Reynolds & Reynolds stock a fabulous range of affordable vehicles and also supplies, service and repair most makes and models. Open 7 days a week. Go on, call in today and see some friendly faces at Reynolds & Reynolds Vehicle Sales or online at reynolds.im. Part exchange and finance available. This infomercial was brought to you by Bespoke Group.
On Onken Community Fun Day is this Saturday from 10:30 a.m. with free fun activities during the day, including boats, crazy golf and much more. With special musical performances throughout the day until 9 p.m. Visit Onken Commissioners online and Facebook for more info.
Love local, love the island.
Love local, live local. Discover the brand new Grand Island development of 9 luxury homes, situated in a secluded area of Ramsey. Enjoy large living space and gardens with amazing views. Visit grandisland.im to arrange a viewing.
Manx Radio is all about supporting and growing Manx businesses. Advertising on Manx Radio can reach 7 out of 10 adults on the island over 13 weeks. That's nearly 49,000 people. Call Ariane on 682 600 and find out how to get your business on air.
Find your perfect Isle of Man home by Murrick Lake. We have a modern development of 8 luxury, spacious apartments with lakeside views waiting for you, with garages available. Visit lakesideapartments.im for more info and show home opening hours.
Love local, love the island.
With everything that's going on around us, there's a pleasure in store. An invitation to choose a case of 6 of the same great wines from around the world and only pay for 5. Starting at £35 for 6, to the ultimate. Choose selected Sainsbury's Taste the Difference wines, Prosecco, or even the finest champagne. Indulgent? Well deserved, I'd say. The 6 for 5 summer wine offer at ShopRite and WineRite, proudly locally owned.
Welcome to the Miller Chaps of Ramsey Summer Sale, where you'll find fabulous reductions throughout the store. From beds and flooring to sofas, cane furniture and accessories, rugs, pictures, mirrors and even wallpapers. Plus, the friendly Miller Chaps team are here as always with a warm welcome and expert help and advice when needed. Don't miss the Miller Chaps of Ramsey Summer Sale. Now on.
Creating a home where you'll love to be. Miller Chaps of Ramsey.
Tonight here on Max Radio at 6 o'clock, join Kiri Kermode and myself, Simon Clark, for Countryside.
I popped along to the Curraghs Wildlife Park and caught up with the General Manager, Kathleen Graham.
And I attended an Adult Education Day held at St John Mill and ran by the Manx Wildlife Trust.
That's all in Countryside at 6 o'clock tonight here on Manx Radio. And don't forget you can download or subscribe to the podcast for free at manxradio.com.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint, furnished by Magic Carpets.
It's 28 minutes to 1 with Laurence Skelly, MHK. Hello, Greta.
Hello.
Hello, you're live with Laurence Skelly.
Thank you. Hello, Laurence.
How you doing?
You know who I am, don't you?
Of course I do, absolutely.
Well, can you tell me what happened to this wonderful firm we had, Ramsey Amusements? We had 2 cinema houses, a wonderful outdoor swimming pool and dance hall. Now, for young people, there is nothing but pubs. All right?
Right, yes. Well, you have a wonderful bowling alley there, which nowhere else in the Isle of Man has, don't you? Which is a great facility. The picture houses and I guess that era, the open water swimming pools. There's one down in Port Erin, I think, and Peel as well had one. And be interesting to see, how you could achieve some of that activity. Lots and lots of water sports happening now. I don't know how much in Ramsey, but down in Arnick.
Yes, Laurence, stop right there. Young people, yes. But then you must, if you're a member of the House of Keys, you must provide for middle-aged people, young people and old people. Agreed?
Absolutely. The whole population.
Well then, I mean, what is there? There isn't a cinema house. There isn't a dance hall. There's nothing in Ramsey at all. They call it Royal Ramsey, but by God, there's nothing royal about it.
Greta, what would you like to see in Ramsey then? What do you think there should be?
Well, there should be some sort of entertainment. If there was only just one picture house, perhaps once a week even. But I mean, all right, we have plenty of churches. Well, I go to church. I'm nothing against all the churches. But I mean, young people today, there's just nothing for them to do but drink in pubs.
Yeah, what I would say, Greta, is that you might want to consider St. Paul's Hall there and see whether you might get enough people interested to put a cinema club together. The Aeronauts do this to very good effect down in Port Eyre, and they have various different amateur dramatics, but they also have a cinema club there, and from time to time they do various different shows, which is good too. And that's a nice hall too. You could probably have various dancing activities.
And I think as well, aren't they trying to do a cinema club at the old courthouse in Ramsey as well?
That's right. Now you're talking.
That would be good. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to think who's involved with the old courthouse. Is it Georgia Revel and Tim Baker involved with that, or speak to Alex Allenson or Laurie Hooper to see about working up some initiatives there? Be well worth looking at. You got some great facilities there, and getting people together is the key in any of these communities. And you're right. You can start to build on any of those sort of things. I know that lots and lots of clubs and so forth around the island, dance clubs and so forth, are very, very popular.
Okay, Greta, thanks for calling us today.
All right, all the best to you.
Good to talk to you. And I think behind that, Mr. Skelly, is the fact that there are entertainment venues that have disappeared, certainly along Douglas Promenade. We're thinking of the Cave and the Venue and places like that. Even the fact that there were the amusement arcade at the Crescent Cinema. Lots of stuff has disappeared over the past few years. It's the trend in entertainment. It's the same across.
Yeah.
Pubs close down all the time across, and certainly the number of nightclubs has decreased by at least a third, even before COVID. So it's a matter of keeping people entertained. Obviously, the state can't start nationalised dance halls, but where do you think we go for entertainment? What do you think the trend for entertainment is on the island?
Well, I mean, it's that question again. What is it for there's nothing to do. You often hear that. But when you start to look, you probably find there's an awful lot to do on the island. But it does require one to do a bit of research. But working together with regards to the community, and I'm just thinking in my constituency, there are dance clubs, there's yoga, there's I mentioned the Aeronauts there.
That's a jewel of a place, isn't it?
There is. There's a hidden gem in many ways. Peel has the Centenary Centre. There's lots and lots of these facilities, and it just takes a handful of people to take an interest and build upon that, and then you could actually have a cinema club or a dance club or whatever it is that you think that is missing and what people are looking for and are interested. But there is plenty to see and do, and I think once more, because the whole staycationing issue where people are not travelling, people are discovering the island and what there is to do. Water sports I just mentioned there, the paddle boarding, the kayaking, the coast steering, and all these other activities in and around the water sports when the weather's like this is absolutely fabulous.
What's the latest on Lord Street and the development there? Because that was going to have a cinema, wasn't it?
It was a multiplex really, which of course we know would be a great demand and great interest right in the centre of town, combined with retail and so forth. So the planning permission, I think, is all approved, and of course what happened, I guess COVID came along, and we hope that will be picked up in due course. But I do know there are other investments happening on the island in various different forms, whether it be in residential and commercial, and we do have the Eastern Area Plan, which will hopefully open up more investment in the construction industry in due course.
And of course, I think, talking of Greta, there are a couple of things coming up. Is it? I think it is in 2 weeks' time. That famous 4-day weekend we have. The
Supermanx Bank Holiday.
There's going to be a Ramsey Supermanx Family Fun Day on Monday 31st at the Murrock, and also I think the Grand Fondo is going to be. The Grand Fondo will be at Murrock Park on the 29th as well, and 3 great tribute bands as well: DCAC, OK Computer, and Pigs on the Wing.
Yes, yeah. So again, this is just highlighting the fabulous talent we have in the creative industry here on the island. So you've got a lot of music and other entertainment. There's a wonderful one there in Russian Abbey, which Manx National Heritage are promoting. Manx music and dance there just this last weekend, and other activities. And people remember, the strawberries and cream tea dances and things. But so this case is bring your own picnic, which is nice to enjoy in those grounds. But that's one of many things, but we want the whole Manx community to come out and enjoy that 4-day weekend. You've mentioned a couple of events there. The other one which I would want to highlight is that on Friday, the Bishop is kindly organising a national service of reflection, particularly for all the key workers and people who have lost their lives and the families that are affected there too. So that's on 11 o'clock on Friday at St George's right here in Douglas. So lots and lots of fun activity, but there is also a serious note to that, and a parade lap around the TT course where we can have a clap and thank all those key workers that have helped us to get to this point.
A question in just to say, what's the situation with the North Quay pedestrianisation in Douglas?
I know there's some ongoing discussions on that, and there have been meetings with various stakeholders, and what we've been trying to do as a department is trying to help facilitate those businesses. I see a lot of activity there. You got pubs and restaurants and so forth there, where pedestrianisation, particularly when you got like weather like this, the Manx Riviera is what it's like. So you got an opportunity there to experiment with some pedestrianisation to see if that would help benefit and enjoy the atmosphere and ambience. So watch this space.
Okay, a question now about the overall situation with Aurigny, with the Isle of Man taking control of its own airline, and also the recent, this is from Howard, I don't think it's your Howard, does the Minister think the recent debacle at the airport will assist in our economic recovery? That was a mishap.
Yes, yeah. No, certainly on behalf of government, I would apologise, for what actually happened there. Clearly a miscommunication, and human errors do happen. So I do apologise there to anyone and everyone who was inconvenienced. I was delighted to hear that they didn't miss any of their matches. Whilst I didn't attend, I did see pictures of the rugby, and it looked like a great fun day, that atmosphere, a bit of competitive sport, and it looked like it was enjoyed by all. But yes, the future of our air service is under discussion at the moment. Our colleagues in DOI are looking at various different options. Clearly, we're secure with regards to the sea services because we purchased the steam packet, but air services are vital as well. We've got patient transfer services to the northwest. We've got business services to London that are very necessary, ongoing. And I would suggest also to Ireland. We do need an essential service to Ireland by air too. So these are ongoing discussions.
Okay, and another one in saying, where does the Minister stand on the Ramsey Marina?
Right, that's a good one. I think the private party has actually got now the remit to go to the next stage, and there's a lot of issues to deal with there. Not least, I think the environmental issue, the planning issue, the finance issue, and there's a process to follow at this particular time. Is the marina successful that we currently have? We have 2 tidal marinas in Douglas and Peel, and clearly there's plenty of boats that fill those, but they are tidal. So could we sustain a non-tidal marina? And the answer to that is probably yes. But in terms of the process there in Ramsey, there's quite a lot, quite a long journey, I think, to progress there. But they have got to the first stage, shall we say.
What about Port St Mary for a marina?
I always thought that would be the natural option.
24 hours, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And the point is that when Department of Infrastructure, I think, put out the expressions of interest, they included that, and nobody came forward with any options there for us to consider. What we know as a government is that we are not doing the investment in these marinas. We were looking for private sector investment, and we'll see how things go from there.
How do you feel about Port St Mary? Because with the Bay Queen going, it would seem a big opportunity to do something with Port St Mary, or is it best left rustic?
Well, you mentioned the Bay Queen, Andy, which is a good point, because, of course, that is finally being developed after all these years. So planning permission has been approved, and so the works actually start on that within weeks, I think. So we're all delighted to finally see that actually happen. And in terms of the how you mentioned rustic, I think it's the quaintness of Port St Mary, and we're very fortunate. We've got two ports, very different ports, different identities, Port Erin and Port St Mary, and you've got a working fishing harbour there, which is challenged as well, I will say, for other reasons. But you've also got the beach on the other side in Port Erin, so it's a great compliment.
Okay, a message in now, just to say, by the way, Ramsey Grammar School shows films and live streaming as well, which I think is the same deal that they do at the Erin Arts Centre as well.
That's great.
And a note in just to say, why do older people want to complain about the lack of things, but don't ever want to put in the effort to help setting them up? If you start something, they will come, apparently, says this one. A note in that says Ramsey has loads going on for all ages, music nights, choral, plus variety of live screenings at the grammar school, COVID permitting, and lots of activities at the Moorick Lake, says Daphne as well. And a question that just says, last time Mr. Skelly was on, he talked about the Isle of Man being promoted off the island by members of his department. Is that still going on?
Yes, I think, there's two different aspects there. We always promote the Isle of Man as a good place to do business and invest, of course, but we also promote the Isle of Man in terms of locate strategy, which, of course, was halted when COVID came along. So do we still need people here who are inward investors? Yes. Do we still need people here who are entrepreneurs who employ people? Yes. Do we still need skills? Actually, the answer to that is yes. And that's a very, very difficult balance, really, because we know there's so many people unemployed and maybe unemployed with the salary support scheme, but there are still skills required on the island as it stands right now.
Just again, maybe I wasn't listening properly. The difference between locate and business there.
Well, locate was purely about locating to the Isle of Man, and if it goes way back to when we had the big expo, and we used the Isle of Man as a place to start your business, grow your business, and locate your business. So locate was the finale of that, and we took that and drove it further.
Okay, a call who left the message just to say, what's the situation with the borders now? When will we move to the next phase, or are we just keeping our foot off the clutch, as it were?
Yes, I think as announced by Chief Minister, this will be reviewed towards the end of this month. There's no change imminent, but Council Ministers will be reconvening shortly, and there will be a review on where we're up to, and a lot of it is all about the data collection as to where we're up to. Right now, we've allowed people obviously to leave the island who can self-isolate, and we're gathering that data to see how that performance is.
Okay, what happened to the space industry on the Isle of Man? It seems the Shetland Islands has grabbed a large chunk of this. Is that true?
Well, the space industry, which was, I think, used as a very good marketing tool for the Isle of Man, never actually employed a lot of people here. And we did have one company just consolidate who said it was not to do with COVID recently. But we are in discussions with another company who may be able to locate here to the island. So it's not dead and gone, so to speak. But there are new industries all the time. But what we do find, and it's well worth highlighting this, that lots of our business growth and economic growth and job growth actually comes from organic businesses who are already here, and we're seeing opportunities, quite significant ones, coming out of that, particularly in the digital space, I would suggest, more than anything.
Great. Laurence Skelly, MHK, with us today. Anything you want to talk about, text 166177, email studio@magsradio.com, or you can call 66 13 68. We're on live till 1 today.
We wanted a wood-burning stove, but we wanted to do it right. Thank goodness for the Snug in Ramsey. Their showroom has over 30 quality stoves on display and everything from fire surrounds to hearths. With over 10 years' experience, their friendly, knowledgeable team can support you every step of the way, from purchase through installation and aftercare. Call the Snug now on 818 187. Warming the heart of Island homes for 10 years.
I didn't know where to turn to protect me and my children from my violent husband.
My partner verbally abused me, controlled how much money I could spend and who I could talk to.
But my advocate was compassionate and helped me with the police to stop the abuse.
My advocate helped me to get a court order to protect me and stay in my home.
If you need assistance, call Advocate Smith Torbitts Unsworth Limited on 677 888 or email reception@advocates.co.im.
Corkill. Call Corkill Removals and Storage today. Loads big and small, day after day. We'll help you move, we'll help you pack. With a local or global, we've got the knack. So give us a cheer. Yay! Your movers are here. They do it right.
As well as moving locally, nationally or internationally, we have storage solutions from as little as £12 per week. Call
675 495. We'll get your load delivered on time. You can be sure we'll get the job done. Click CorkillRemovals.com.
Most worthwhile things in life need care right from the start. At Moore Stevens Business Sense, we know that from experience. We've coached 150 startup businesses. Our suite of services supports the very personal needs of those courageous individuals who set out in businesses of their own. Yes, we're part of Moore Global, operating in more than 110 countries, but we understand that big or small, business requires the personal touch. Trust us today to take it personally when you call on 66 2020.
Take a tip from me. You can make a lot more of your garden when you visit Ramsey Garden Centre. They've everything you need to make your outdoors magical, from seasonal bedding and perennials to beautiful roses, shrubs and more. Light up your garden with their solar lighting and get inspired in their summer garden room, all at Ramsey Garden Centre. For all your garden needs, including expert help and advice, call 816 506 or pop into Ramsey Garden Centre, Albert Road, Ramsey. Open 7 days a week.
Make your leisure time complete with Roberts Leisure, the island's most experienced hot tub and sauna retailer. Order your own Canadian-built Arctic Spas hot tub that uses natural sea salt to keep your water clean, and relax whilst the spa voice system looks after the water for you all year round. Or enjoy a superb Swedish sauna with infrared and steam baths available too. Your new leisure experience starts with Roberts Leisure. Visit our Douglas showroom in Whitehoe Industrial Estate or visit Arctic Spas IOM on Facebook.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint. Furnished by Magic Carpets.
Laurence, Skelly, MHK with us today. Oh, just one quick one. Who's the Chief Minister designate while Mr. Quayle is in Guernsey?
He's not in Guernsey.
He does leave the island.
He does. Well, he just he usually designates one of the other ministers to take that over, of which I'm not sure if he's assigning one yet.
Okay. If I want to start up a small business, are there any startup grants available?
There is, and yes, absolutely. And I think that's the classic one, really, isn't it? If you can't find the job or the career that you want, create it. So this is one opportunity you've got, and come in and talk to us, because we will give you all the details of how you actually go through that particular process, because we do have people go through that process and then decide maybe that's not for them, because they do need to understand all the aspects of running a business.
Okay, and finally, we've got about a couple of minutes left. Motorsport comes within your remit as well. Well, we don't really know what to say about what's happened this year, but planning for next year.
Yes, well, we are absolutely planning to have the TT as normal, subject to, of course, and that's what we have to plan with regards not just for motorsport, but for tourism. There are so many factors at play here, and we're obviously observing and understanding what's happening elsewhere, particularly around the airline industry. So we're very, very interested in where that actually pans out. And to be quite honest, I don't think we'll know where that's up to until early in the new year. But we are planning the event. It takes a year to plan, and we're obviously really disappointed and saddened we couldn't have any motorsport racing here this year, but we would hope to have it next year.
Okay, just very quickly to Brian, who's with us.
Hello there.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Minister. I've just got off the phone from New Zealand talking to my sister out there.
All right.
In the North Island. And she tells me that they're now on the second pandemic of the coronavirus out there. Auckland itself has been completely shut down, and parts of Wellington as well. And it's all through letting the borders be open again.
Right.
Have you got any information about this?
I haven't, Brian, but I did see the headline literally just as I walked in here, and of course there would be concern in that, but it'll come down to the contact tracing effectively now, how quickly they can contain and suppress it, which is exactly what we would have to do if and when it does come back here, and that's what's important, is to have that capacity, and in this case now we've got the knowledge and experience and understanding how to do that. So we hope they'll be able to contain it quickly and suppress it and get back to where they were.
I hope so, because they're in panic mode out there at the moment now.
And that's what I think we have to be careful of in terms of understanding what does happen when it does come back.
Okay, good to talk to you. Thank you, Brian, for that call as well. So business, as far as we're concerned, is going on, and it's a matter of finding new business, making the business we have work more efficiently. How do you feel? What's your overall opinion of where your department is?
Well, I would believe we're well positioned to take advantage of where we are, and what we got to do is do what we always do, is support innovation. That's really important to recognise that, and support the organic growth, and through that we'll see other benefits come our way. People are wanting to come to the Isle of Man. People are wanting to live here. They are wanting to live and work. I suddenly spoke to somebody in our department this morning who's another return in Manxie who recognises the Isle of Man is a great place to live and work, and we want to continue that, and we want people to invest in the island as well.
And also to the lady who sent a message in saying, I've been looking on the webcam and Mr. Skelly doesn't have any pieces of paper in front of him. I can't believe he knows all this. Well, apparently, yes. You must have how many plates spinning in your head at the moment?
Well, it is. It's all a matter of hopefully being on top of your brief, really, at the end of the day, and do stay in touch with everyone. But I must thank the team that sit behind me, because they keep me very well briefed as to what's actually happening. And there is a lot of activity. It's not all negative. There is a lot of positivity out there too. So we want that great Manx spirit to continue going forward as we move into this economic recovery stage.
Thanks to Laurence Skelly, MHK Enterprise Minister. And thank to you for listening to The Mannin Line, and studio producer Howard Kane. I'm Andy Wint. Back at the same time tomorrow for an open line on The Mannin Line.